It's a sad day in the Marvel Rivals community when people care more about the drama surrounding the game than the game itself.
Gave opinions, wasn't needed. Came clutch with a buzzer beater. Beast feast and he needs to beat. Whatever's left, let the buzzers eat it. Quick with it, clean record. Mayweather, undefeated. He came and he saw and he conquered. I got a slay at the concert. You know the story, the tortoise in here. You want the glory, your nose in the air. I couldn't care less about your money, phone, and your pair of shoes and your side hose.
What's good, nieces and nephews? It has been a turbulent week in the Marvel Rivals space because there are more beefs going on than there are tournaments, DLC announcements, and even summer swimsuits. If you enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comment section and also give your thoughts. I'm really curious what all of you think about what's going on. Now, to provide context for those of us who are not chronically online and on Twitter every day, essentially, Flats had made a tweet originally responding, if I'm correct, to Samju's post surrounding how the devs need to take time away from the game and actually focus on balancing. Maybe 1 to 2 months, don't drop any heroes, just bring out new patch notes, maps, bug fixes, optimization, etc. And Flats was essentially talking about how he did a whole video discussion on this. I urge all of you to go check it out. I hate when people hear things secondary and take it as gospel. Don't take my word as law. Look at what he said. But what he said in the video essentially was that, the dev team's already working hard. They're already at teams focusing on balancing, and that right now that the game isn't in this terrible place that everyone is saying. He also created a tier list and had made comments about how Captain America is S tier, really strong and things like that. And it's got a lot of people upset. This caused a pro player named Light from Team Nightmare to basically call out Flats and do a response video to his video. Now, in that video, Light goes essentially out of his way to troll most of the time. He speaks very hyperbolically, tries to debunk Flats' points about how certain characters are stronger and how we should balance the game around the pro scene versus the lower end, the top end specifically versus the lower end. I really don't want to misquote anybody. That said, people are now in a bit of a frenzy here because Flats, after he reacted to Flats' video, Flats naturally reacted to his, and it's basically been a reaction war since. Now, to be completely transparent, in Light's original video, when he was reacting to Flats, he basically, he spends most of the time looking at the screen and saying things while Flats is talking, not really addressing each of his points individually, which is something Flats stated. However, in Flats' videos, a lot of people feel as though he's been just attacking with a lot of ad hominems and using the same logic. No one's being genuine when it comes to actually considering each other's points. I believe a couple people on Twitter are also saying that too and recommended that they go on a certain podcast to hash things out. And hey, maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm really curious what these people act like live, but a lot of them, especially these bigger streamers, are reclusive. So some people are saying that Light's just, engagement farming, rage baiting. A lot of his takes apparently have been coming off as rage baity when it comes to character classes and things like that. And he'll go out of his way to say oh, I was just rage baiting there. I was just, it was a troll. And it's that's kind of a weak ass answer. Just saying. Anybody who goes out of their way to drive home a position just to basically backpedal it as soon as they get some pressure, I don't know. I don't really respect that too much. I think we'd be better off, just saying what we actually mean since we're all adults. That said, some of Light's criticisms are accurate. I do actually agree with some of the points that he made during his, pseudo reaction to Flats. One of the key points is that the dev team has billions upon billions of dollars. They do not, we don't have to go with this approach that they're not working hard, that they're working hard enough already. I'm sorry, but anytime a company has that much money, they can invest in teams. I'm not saying to go after the individual creators and the individual people who work there. What I am saying is I don't want to give a $1 billion company any type of slack. And now something that I want to address regarding Flats, and this ain't shade because this is something I've said for a while, but I really do want to address it because I like Flats' content. I'm subscribed to all of his channels. He's one of the few streamers I regularly watch. That said, I'm not going to change my opinion or my approach just because, I find him entertaining or I think he's actually a genuine nice person, because you can still be wrong and be the nicer person between the two. And I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying that either of them can be right and wrong in certain categories. So Flats a while back mentioned how he intended to be a fly on the wall for the community. And this is something that's always pissed me off, genuinely made me annoyed, because I'm over here wondering what type of fly are you? Because you gotta be maybe a fly catcher. because you are by far the loudest fly I've ever heard, the most hard to ignore fly. I'm not calling him a fly. That's just what he said his approach was going to be. He wasn't gonna, try to impose his opinion too much in the community. He's gonna let things play out, and he doesn't. Like, he does not do that. That's a objective fact. Everything else we can, debate on, context, opinions. But Flats likes to claim as if he's, not on the in club, and he is. Flats is definitely on the in club. He gets sponsorships from NetEase. He gets sponsorships from Marvel Rivals for early access. And I'm not hating on the guy. He's earned the community that he's built. He's earned his fan base. He's earned his support. But to say that you're going to be a fly on the wall, as if you are fence sitting, only to, do the opposite at every turn. You're always throwing your opinions out, and everyone knows this. Twitter, YouTube, the state of the game, your tier lists are giving opinions about the community. And I think that a lot of people just find it maybe a little irritating or frustrating. It's like you got the guy saying one thing, but he's doing a completely other. It's like you're not being a fly on the wall. You are an active participant in this community who's actively contributing. And not only that, you have the ability to influence it at a larger scale than most people. So when you're over here saying that you're just gonna be a fly in the wall, you're just gonna observe things, no one's taking that seriously, because it's just not true. It doesn't match what's happening, what we're all seeing. I personally would appreciate a more direct approach of, yeah, I do have influence, I do have clout. Don't act as if you're, some rando. You're not just some random Marvel Rivals player here actually just observing. I've got buddies who play the game, they enjoy it a lot, but they don't watch any of the streamer stuff, the drama. I had a friend of mine who literally told me, he's like, I'm so happy to hear that I heard this from you, because to be honest with you, it just shows that I've been outside touching grass, and that kind of made me laugh. But yeah, I guess my biggest gripe when it comes to this or fence sitting is the inconsistency of it, really. Do I think Flats' positions are a little lukewarm, and is he a little soft on the devs? Yes, I do. Do I think his opinion is completely worthless because of that? No, of course not. I don't think that your opinion's worthless, because I don't think that, he works for these guys. It's not their YouTube channel, and who knows, I could be wrong. But what I do know is you can't say that you're just a fly on the wall and you're actively shaping and morphing the community. Tier lists aside, your opinions, your discussion posts, your state of the game and Rivals, those things contribute. Hell, you've talked about Rivals longer recently than you've played it. Let's sink in. And I ain't judging you for it. But you can't just say you're a fly on the wall if you're actively, you're contributing to the community. A news anchor is not a fly on the wall in the political landscape. They're an active participant one way or the other, whether they want to admit that truth or not. It's not something that, the rest of us are gonna, pretend not to notice, I guess is the best word. Also, I want to say something. For some reason, people in this community think that just because you say things in a nice, soft tone, that you're not a dick. You can still be a dick and be polite. I'm not. You can have social skills and social etiquette. Not be a deranged baboon and still be a dickhead. Just because you say something in a nice. If you tell me to eat shit, please. It's not really. You're still not saying something nice. So this weird approach that either of them is better than the other for their ad hominem of attacks. It's just not true. It kind of goes back to this whole thing I've been thinking about regarding Rivals, and that everything is rage bait culture. Everyone just wants to make people rage. Like, oh, I'm rage baiting you. What type of fucking zesty shit is that? I'm sorry. I find it so corny, so beta, so... I ain't gonna even take it there. I ain't gonna take it there. But I'm just saying, if your whole thing is just rage baiting people, making them mad for the sake of making them mad, you're a loser. You are a loser. It doesn't matter how much of a pro you are, how many followers you got, how much, content creation you do, that won't unlame you. You can't unlame yourself when you're acting like a lame. And going around and, basically pussyfooting around your position and changing it consistently when people start to call you out on it and just saying, oh, I'm rage baiting. I don't know. Seems kind of pussy to me. Why not stand on what you say something, stand on it. Hell, I ain't gonna lie. I've said a lot of things and I've had to, apologize. I've had to retract in my life. Yeah, I was wrong. Sometimes I haven't had all the information. Sometimes I don't have all the, data. But one thing's for sure, you ain't never gonna see me talking about I'm rage baiting as an excuse. No, if I said it, I meant it. And if I meant it, then send it. And if I'm wrong, I'll apologize, acknowledge that, and try to be better. These people, they make this game their identity, their lives. And it's so all we see of you is how you're acting in game. If you're acting like a dickhead, well, then people are going to treat you like one. No one's going to take you seriously if you're just the guy that's always rage baiting and, looking to be, I guess, antagonistic or contrarian. That shit's annoying. Going through someone's whole video and reacting to all of it just to like skip through their points defeats the whole purpose. I think Light loses the point when he does things like that. It's like, we don't care that you're a pro, bro. Nobody knows you pros. Nobody really knows me. Shit. Hell, I'm not saying I'm better than y'all, but I'm just saying you pros, like, y'all are not, the Lord of the Rings. We don't care. That's your bag. That's your money you're getting. It does not really affect us. Like, congrats. Congrats, you're getting paid to play a game. I'm very happy for you. It's a game you're good at, you're passionate about it. I can acknowledge your skill. At the same time, I could never pick your face out of a crowd, but I could definitely recognize some of these content creators. And I feel like that's one of the things that causes that problem. A lot of people have a little bit of that haterade in them. So I think that part of the reason that some of this excess hate comes in is just the fact that people want to get their clout up. Like, let's be honest here. Half of us had not known of his name until he started beefing. And in that case, it kind of comes back to that, engagement baiting or drama farming or hate farming, whatever it is. People are saying the game is so boring right now that this is all that people can do. Which, hey, it might speak to a little bit about the context of Rivals and where it's at right now. People are this bored that they're just beefing with people. And kind of like the dissatisfaction of how pros are feeling, because if you care this much about the game, you'd think you'd be a more active, present member in the community. You'd think people would be able to access you more easily. Why don't you do some coaching? Why don't you teach people? I know you scrim, on a work schedule. I respect that. I work too, but if I can work a full-time 60-hour job week, I'm pretty sure you can find some time to hop in a Discord, do some VOD reviews without just shitting on people. I hate when content creators do that, VOD review, and they just basically crap on the people. Like, what type of loser are you? You want to just shit on your audience. You want to have your audience hype you up. Like, yeah, this guy's ass low. He's piss low. Corny stuff like that. Why is the game going to this state? I think, and I really do believe that, especially, like I said, I'm really not on either one's side completely with this, because I don't have enough information yet. But I'm dissatisfied with both of their approaches, to be honest with you. I'm dissatisfied with Flats's hypocrisy about being a fly in the wall, yet he's always jumping in everyone's business in Marvel. Always. If there's a topic, he covers it. No hate. Look at what I'm doing right now. But I don't say I'm not going to do that and then do it. And then act surprised when people say that he shapes the community. Make up your mind. But at the same time, I do think Light is just being a hater. It really does seem like he's coming out hating. Like, okay, we get it, buddy. You're a pro. You want everyone to give you some head. You can put sprinkles on shit if you want. Call it ice cream if you need to, but I'm not eating it. And I'm not going to even bother with this weird conception that, you know better, or you can decide what's better for 99% of the community when you represent less than 1% of 1%. Hell, I'd rather the game be fun than be super competitive. And it's weird because you guys, you hate Roll Q, you hate Overwatch, but everyone's always saying if I wanted a massive competitive game, I'd go there. Which is it, I can't take a pro player seriously when I've only ever heard of them when they want to, beef with someone or call someone stupid or slurs or names. And I'm not saying that Flats or Light did that. I'm very clear. I did not. I've never heard of them doing anything like that. I was referencing other creators in general, but and other like Twitter posters, YouTubers and stuff like that, but not those two specifically. I want to be very clear on that. All I'm saying is that you guys don't understand what the rest of us are even experiencing. So, and I really don't think Flats does either too, because like, I believe most of the people who play this game play quick play. I don't ever see Flats on no quick play. Ever. I ain't never see him hop in no quick play match. I ain't never see Light in quick play. But you want to dictate the game? So what? You and your 10 friends can play together? No one's going to watch you. No one is going to watch you. It will be boring. Who would want to watch a game where it's so hyper critical and hyper technical? People want to hop on here and play Spider-Man. They want to play Squirrel Girl. They want to bash some shields. That's the community, not you pro players getting paid. Nobody who gets paid for this game, who gets paid for strictly playing this game, can say that they know what's best for the community. You are biased. You're just trying to, I don't know. It seems like some of you need these buffs to do a little bit better in those pro tourneys, but that's just my take on it. Overall, dissatisfied with the community. Very disappointed. Flats, you gotta, straight up, I'm gonna address people directly as Flats, you gotta like make a decision. If you're gonna be this fly in the wall dude or whatever, you gotta stand on that. Don't say you're fly and then constantly be, howling like a like not a corgi. What are those things? They're like the snow dogs. I can't think of it. Let me know what you guys. You know that little Howard like woo. It's not like you hate them. Huskies, like a husky. You know, you're constantly making noise, and I appreciate that as someone who watches you. I just don't appreciate the weird in and out approach you're taking, because if you're serious about, just letting the community develop, you of all people should not be talking in it. I really believe that, because you do shape this community. And Light, you gotta quit hating. If you gonna hear someone's points out and just immediately come in ready to reject them, why even react to the video at all? Call him an idiot, say what you think, and move on. Because if I was Flats, I would have flagged your ass. I would have been like, nope. You spending 99% of the time listening to me shaking your head and mumbling. That's beta. You're out. If someone wants to, I guess, review one of my videos or something like that, because believe it or not, I've had a couple people do it. They've used some of my clips, and I don't care. But if you're using 99% of my stuff and just calling me a moron, that's not none of respect. I don't know. I just don't like people with that mentality. They think that just because they're loud and angry and I guess technically proficient, that they somehow get to dictate everything. I don't care how technically proficient you are. Go play against AI. You'll feel like a god. Some of us just want to enjoy the game, and you pros are so out of touch. You're so out of sync. You have no idea what's good for this community. And you should honestly just mind your own business, because you're playing a different game. Stay in your lane, with your team, your 6-man team ups, because none of y'all running dolo. Stay with your teams. Win with them, coordinate around what's best, and deal with it. If you're a professional, that means you're going to do the professional route. So I don't care if you don't like that Gambit's good. Get over it. Play him. Learn him. Stop being an OTB brawl diver. Play these characters. Play the ones that are going to win. If you call yourself a pro, you have to play professionally. Professionally means you're trying to win. And if you're trying to win, but you're not using the best tools, then you're trying to lose. Especially if your answer is, oh, change it for me. I don't know. I just find it kind of corny. But anyways, I've been Unk, y'all been y'all. Thank you guys for watching. I'd love all of your opinions in the comment section. Feel free to, by the way, since everybody's beefing with people, I'm always down for a good beef. I'm more of a direct type of beef myself. So, if you want smoke, let me know. But if it's beef, you're mincemeat. Anyways, have a great day. Hope you guys are enjoying this beautiful Thursday. And be sure to tell your aunties I said hi.